Welcome to the Nuff Said Podcast, episode 19. We got a super special episode. It'll be even more special when it's 20 because there'll be even more people. But this time we have two fantastic guests with us. We teased it last week. We have Ben Avery and Daniel Butcher. Boys, what are you from?
We're from Welcome to Level 7, the unofficial podcast of Marvel Cinematic Universe and Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
We like to call it the longest title in the business.
You know, I'm disappointed. I thought you'd have Clark Gregg actually do your intro for this, too.
Oh, yeah. You know, they're in a different time zone.
Yeah.
So,
Jack, I don't know if you're aware, but I was listening to Welcome to Level 7, and you guys actually have Clark Gregg do an intro for you. How did that happen?
We have awesome listeners.
Okay.
No, we do.
Seriously.
We say it all the time, but they are phenomenal.
Hey, ours are better.
All right. Well, we had actually a fairly new listener just out of the blue. He sent a tweet to Clark Gregg and said, "Hey, Welcome to Level 7, and their listeners would love it if you recorded their opening."
And he did it.
8 minutes later?
I don't even think it was that many. I think it was like 3.
We got a tweet from Clark Gregg saying, "Okay." So
Cool.
I sent him a message and said, "Hey, can I direct message you?" And he instead just direct messaged me and sent me the email for his assistant, and she set it all up. We sent him the words we wanted him to say, and then she sent us a MP3 of his voice.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure he did it on an iPhone somewhere quiet, and it wasn't a lot of time for him to do that, but it was really
but
just kind of cool,
of him to do it.
Yeah. So, like I said, though, it all comes down to that one listener who just out of the blue. We had never had any contact with this listener before.
Wow.
No, I think he was like 2 weeks in on us because he had even sent us a message saying that he was going through our back catalog. And all of a sudden we see that message and we were completely and utterly shocked.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So
That is
Very
so
cool.
cool. See, I think we're throwing down the gauntlet. I'd love for some of our listeners to get us somebody cool. Get us, for next week, get us Chris Evans. How come nobody's buying into that one?
That's a pretty good pull right there. If you can pull that off.
Yeah. No, I have an even better poll. Chris Evans would be awesome. Get me Samuel Jackson.
That'd be nice.
That would be too much.
you know what, though? Honestly, I could see him doing it before Chris Evans, I think.
Yeah, actually, I can too.
It seems like his kind of personality.
Yeah, he seems to be kind of all over it. Now, did you guys watch? I'm segueing here, but it actually is pertinent. Did you guys watch the Assembling the Universe?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jack?
Yes, actually, I did.
Jack,
Believe it or
watch
not.
something.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I'm actually famous for not watching any of his suggestions, but I usually do after the show. So
Right. So after we've talked it out and we've, gone through the whole thing, then he watches it and we never come back to it. So that's perfect. Okay. So on this show, it talked about how he became Nick Fury, how they drew him first. What I thought was really cool was that his management contacted them saying he wanted to be part of it. That's how he got Star Wars also.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
And
really
who knows,
cool.
maybe
So
episode 7.
it just shows that he's like, he is that guy. He's a total geek. He's way into this stuff. And yeah, maybe we could get Samuel Jackson. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Just make sure we don't make fun of him and say that he's, Lawrence Fishburne or something, because that broke really bad.
That did not go well.
Yeah. I'm not even going to ask Jack if you know what I'm talking about with that.
yeah, well, actually, my audio,
We all know that.
my audio went completely dead, and I don't know if it was my my fancy headphones or what happened, but I didn't even catch what you said because the last thing I heard you say was and it went away.
You know what? It's not worth repeating. It was just a little joke. So we'll just move on from there. So you guys do Welcome to Level 7. And now, was this something that you guys, you saw that there was going to be an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show and you went, oh God, we got to do this show? Or was it more like somebody said to you, we're doing an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. We want you guys to do it. How did that come about?
Oh.
Oh, you don't want to
Ooh.
tell, huh? Being cagey.
Who are we?
We're doing a podcast?
Right.
I thought we were just talking every Tuesday night.
Yeah, I've been recording it, man.
Oh.
Yeah, well, we saw the trailer for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and we just started going back and forth on Facebook and basically said, there needs to be a podcast about this.
Okay.
We should do it. And I think, Daniel, you were coaching lacrosse or something.
No, it was my daughter's field day, so I had the day off work,
Oh,
and
okay.
at the time, Ben and I were both working on 2 rival podcasts.
We were feuding.
And it was on one of those podcasts Facebook page where somebody suggested, it sounds like Daniel's pretty excited about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Ben jumped in and said he was pretty excited about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the feud, to be honest, was kind of tongue-in-cheek. So we spent the entire day just kind of messaging back and forth. What would we call it? What would we do? And I think before 2 o'clock that day, we had websites purchased.
Yeah, but it's not the website we have now.
No.
Okay.
We registered Level 7 Podcast, and then we looked and found out there was already a Level 7 podcast that was about like video games or something. Like,
oh, really?
Level
I've
7
never
of a
run
video
into
game.
that one.
Yeah.
that's-
So we had to
that's
find a
why
new
the
name.
Added the whole length of the title.
Yeah,
That's why it
exactly.
became so long. Yeah.
You know, you can always just add words. Somebody already has your name. Just add some words. That's why
We
it's
have-
the real Neil Gaiman or whatever.
Right. Well, Jack actually does the Blacklist podcast, and of course, there was already a Blacklist podcast, so we just titled it SMG, the Blacklist podcast for Southgate Media Group.
Yeah.
Very tricky, but we just refer to it as the Blacklist podcast. So lots of little tricks you could do like that.
Nobody
And I
notices.
actually like this title better. Welcome to Level 7. Kind of
I do
fits,
too. I think it's a good title.
it fits the tone of the show. It fits what we want to do with the show, where we're, welcoming listener feedback and that kind of thing. And yeah, it's longer, but it's memorable. And Clark
Now-
Gregg said it, so
Yeah,
All right.
and I think that's the quote that got both of us the most excited when we saw the trailer the first time.
absolutely.
Everything in that quote was great, but the moment we heard him say "Welcome to Level 7," I think we were both just bouncing.
Cool.
Actually,
So
I
now
think Jack,
one of you guys is an animator, right? Is that kind of how you got into the Marvel thing, or?
No, I write comic books.
Okay.
I write comic books.
That's
I
Ben.
have
Ben
written
is
for
the one that writes
animation,
them.
but I'm not I'm not an artist or an animator.
Ben,
All right.
I actually want to address this with you real quick because
Okay.
last week we talked a little bit about this, and I ended up doing, the Sky thing, and I looked you up. I have a question. Were you at, I think it was Wizard World last year?
Not last year. My book was, but I wasn't.
Hold on. The year before.
I haven't been to Wizard World since my youngest was born, so it's been like 3 or 4 years.
Okay, then it's not you. Okay, so you do Oz Wonderland.
Yeah.
And this is really funny. The Oz Wonderland had a booth. It's a great book, by the way. Really great. If you haven't read it out there, pick up a copy of Oz Wonderland. It's really fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And
Don't you feel it needs a 3rd volume?
I do. I do. Do you want Southgate Media to publish it?
I've got. I mean, the artist is the publisher. And,
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Casey Hang is the artist on the first book, and he did some art on the second and third. But just yesterday, Daniel, Rob, I was talking with Casey about we need to get together. We figured out what we're going to do for the 0 issue for the final volume, and it is the final volume that we're talking about.
Right. So Casey's the illustrator.
He's the illustrator and publisher,
Okay. Casey's the one I met.
co-creator. Yeah.
Casey's the one I met then. Because, so Casey was at the Oz Wonderland booth. It was on the corner of this thing. And I walked down and I saw it and I started talking to him. And we were talking about, we were talking about my daughter, who is turning 7 tomorrow. By the time this airs, she'll be 7.
Oh.
And she was, at that time, 4, I think. Maybe 5. I think she was 4 when I met him. And we got talking about it, and I ended up buying, you did like a kiddie version of Oz Wonderland.
Yeah, Oz Wonderland Kids. Yep.
Okay. We have a signed copy of that sitting somewhere upstairs. And she really liked it. She thought it was really cool. And I got your bookmark that has the half Dorothy, half Wicked Witch face and that stuff. It was really cool. So then, this is what's really funny about this. So I got talking to him, and I thought, after I talked to you last week, I thought it was you that I had spoken with.
Well, I wonder. But keep going.
I go around the corner, and there's a booth. I'm with my nephew, right? I go around the corner, there's a booth, and it's for the DVMPE, which is a podcasting group. And I said to my nephew, I'd really like to get into that podcasting thing. That seems really cool. And he's like, I don't even know what it is. I'm sure we all run into that regularly, even now. What's that podcasting thing? So I went up and I started talking to those guys, and they're like, oh, dude, you should totally do this. You have the gift of gab, and you could really talk about stuff. Why don't you contact the owner and blah, blah, blah. And that was it. That was when it all started. I talked to him, or I talked to them there. They gave me the guy's number. I called him up, and he put me on 0 Hour, and 0 Hour got canceled, and that opened the door for what we do now.
Nice.
So pretty interesting. It was the last contact I had before I became a podcaster was Oz Wonderland.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would have been Casey. Again, like I can't remember the exact years the last time, but it's been. I'm pretty sure it's been since my last child was born, so 3 years.
Yeah. Now you have a gaggle of kids, right?
If 5 is a gaggle, I don't know.
Well, I was
is
going
a
to call them a
gaggle.
murder of kids, but I thought that was a little weird.
Yeah.
How about you, Daniel?
I have 2,
2, and what are the ages?
11 and 5.
Wow. All right. And then Jack, you have one son.
I do. He is 22.
Yeah. So Jack's got the old kid. So
And
must
then
be something
you have
about,
a daughter, right?
I have
Right,
one
Rob?
daughter. Yeah. And now, are all your kids? Do they all like Agents of Shield and Marvel stuff?
For me, it's just my son who's into it. He's 12. My
Okay.
daughters would watch the movies if they could, but my son's 12. He doesn't watch Agents of Shield, and he hasn't seen all the Marvel movies, but he's into that stuff.
Okay.
And my kids watch with me, and they've seen all the Marvel movies. And for us, it's kind of fun to see my 6-year-old, 5-year-old get all excited when he sees like Stan Lee in the Marvel
Right.
Lego game, and just like
Right.
going off. And it's like, dude, you're 5 and you know who Stan Lee is. That's incredible.
That's awesome. And Jack, do you watch it with your son? We've never even talked about this.
No, I don't think he's really into the Agents of Shield. He's more like Watchtower, The Watchmen, Dark Knight. But
Oh, he's a DC kid.
yeah, I don't think he really gets much into the Marvel thing as much.
You know, I'm not going to boo him because we just started a new podcast called DC Watchtower. So, you know, but I'm not on it. I'm loyal to my Marvel. So I got some questions. As long as we're all kind of here, we all watched that Assembling the Cinematic Universe. What did you guys think of that?
Well, that's what our next episode is actually about that, so you have to listen there.
Oh, spoiler!
No, just kidding. Just kidding.
We just
actually-
decided that.
It is fresh in our mind.
Yeah.
It's true though. That is our next episode that we're posting. I think it's going live tonight. But yeah, for the most part, I liked it.
Okay.
But I can't say there was some cool stuff in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And the other stuff was, I feel like it was all, even if it was new, I felt like it was stuff that I'd seen before.
Yeah, I get that.
Just the DVD extras kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of cool. I got to watch a special press preview screening online through our network, and that was kind of neat because then I didn't have to rush my family last night when we were coming home.
Right.
But yeah, the last 15 minutes were really neat. I really enjoyed that. But the stuff leading up to that, like I said, I just felt like I'd seen it before. Even if I felt like
I
I had.
actually almost pulled a Jack on this. I watched it. I just finished it 10 minutes before we jumped on here. And last night, you know, it wasn't titled an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode, so my TiVo didn't record it.
Oh.
So
How'd
last
you
night
watch it?
I'm flipping on the channels. I'm like, it's not here. I went online. I found it. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I found it.
But that point about the DVR thing is, I think, is important though, because I've got friends that really don't watch the MCU movies, but for some reason they've decided they enjoy Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they're doing it all through DVR, and they totally missed it last night because it's not titled the same
Absolutely.
thing,
That would've
even though it's
screwed
in
'em
that
up.
slot.
And actually, this tied in pretty well, I thought. I mean, they really tried to make it seem like if you like the movies, you better like the show.
See, and in their case, he's never really seen many of the movies, but he likes the show. And this would have been a good introduction for him to be able to understand kind of the greater universe that's going on.
Right.
Because they were really pushing that greater universe.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it's the whole theme.
Yeah. Well, and the whole space thing, like they really were pushing into Guardians of the Galaxy and like trying to make you understand why that was where they were going. I thought that was well, and I don't know. You guys saw the preview for Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Multiple
fantastic.
times, yes.
I mean, I can't wait. Yeah, I've watched it. I don't know how many times since it aired, and for some reason, of all the Marvel movies, I keep watching that preview.
I think it's the song.
It might be because
I
I
think
keep
it's the song.
walking around singing that.
Yep. And man alive, if that's not stuck in your head for a week after you see it.
Yeah.
And then if you watch it 10 times in one day,
I think it's also that little shot of Rocket Raccoon on Groot's back shooting. I see that and I'm just like, I need to see this now. Take my money.
The one
You
that
know
always kind of
Oh, go
gets
ahead.
in my mind is the when they're doing at the very end and they're in the lineup and the guy's just standing there and he yawns.
Oh, when Star-Lord is just yawning.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What
Well,
gets me is Groot. In the when he's like doing the single shot on Groot, and he's just kind of got a little graceful movement and just kind of looking curious, and it just is really intriguing to me.
Well, and he seems like a really gentle character from that
Yeah.
just that little moment.
Exactly.
It's really interesting.
Which is important because of the fact he looks so big and foreboding to be able to see that there's just this real heart inside of a big giant tree.
Now, do you think he's only going to say Groot like he does in the comics, or do you
I
think...
do. Vin Diesel makes it sound like that. I read some interview where they're talking about how Vin Diesel was like making each line sound like it was what he's saying, but he's still only saying the one line. I think that he's going to go through the whole movie just saying, "I am Groot" or whatever.
Oh, awesome.
It sounds like that. I don't know, but
Timmy. Timmy.
Yeah,
Timmy?
that's... Jack, are you doing impressions over there?
Timmy.
Yeah, he is.
yeah, we've moved into the South Park.
Yeah, right.
Is
Well,
that
we
your
actually
next
don't-
one for your network there?
No, when Jack does impressions, we call it Barry Little because he's Rich Little's brother, and he's not very good at it.
Nice.
That's the whole fun about it. If they were any good, it wouldn't be fun.
No, I know.
I'd just be in Vegas working.
And instead, you're on here with us.
Yay.
So, okay, in the thing, they did showcase Black Widow some. There was news a couple of weeks ago. They were talking about how, we're developing a Black Widow movie. I don't know. Did you guys read the comments that were, I think it was on Newsarama yesterday by Kevin Feige about that? Did you guys read any of the Black Widow comments?
What I heard him was he was talking about Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
And
that's what I was
saying,
referring to.
We want to develop, this with Black Widow. They've already developed her. And
See, what I was getting at is it sounded to me like he was almost saying we're going to do Captain Marvel before we do Black Widow.
it almost sounded to me like he's saying, well, we're not doing Black Widow. She's appearing all over the place. We don't need to. Captain Marvel is the way.
Oh, I think that's a mistake.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a good idea simply because they only have so many movie slots that they can do. And if they do a Black Widow movie, they're using her already in Avengers, both Avengers movies, Captain America, Iron Man. I mean, she's all over the place.
Right. Well, I think a standalone Black Widow movie would work. I think that I would actually much more be into seeing a Captain Marvel Netflix series. Let's see that whole thing play out.
I'm just trying
The
to
way
figure
I
out.
look at it, I think the Netflix series are going to really be very cinematic. I think they are going to be fleshing out characters that they may never bring to the big screen, but we're gonna view them the same way because of the way they do this. Especially like with Daredevil, I think that's going to be just awesome.
Now, do you think that they did the Lady Sif? The Lady Sif's that's hard to say. The Lady Sif stuff cinematically.
I think, well, yeah. I mean, we saw her in Thor. Do you guys think that they're building us up to a Lady Sif feature film, or do you think they might spin her off into a series, or what do you think? Or was that it? That Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode, was that really the most we're going to get out of Lady Sif?
See, I think they're getting us ready for Thor 3
Yeah.
because when you listen to our feedback that we get, they are not fans of Natalie Portman. So
Right.
if you're going to look at it appearing long term in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, our fans at least would much rather see Sif and Thor.
I actually agree. I think the Jane storyline, it grounds him. It's a reason to bring him to Earth right now, but I think Jane is kind of cardboard. Sif was so much more awesome in Dark World. I mean, I was so much more interested in her.
Yeah, and it's definitely clear they want to push and promote her.
Yeah, so you're thinking that'll be a Thor 3 thing, will be the storyline of him finally coming together with Sif.
Now, in my
Or an
opinion,
element of it.
most likely it's Thor 3, and maybe she's a replacement for Thor in Avengers 3. But I don't think a standalone.
Oh, You know, that's something that they did say in this, and they said it a couple of times on that cinematic universe thing, was that they mentioned how the lineup can change, and they want to play with that. You could be right. We could have Thor really not be in one of these, let it be Sif. That would be pretty cool. They're not going to do an Expendables thing and make them like all female Avengers.
She-Vengers.
The She-Vengers.
They only do that with the X-Men.
But and then they would have to have like one token guy. You could have Green She-Hulk. You could have, but then they'd have one token guy like they
It'd
did
be
with
Hawkeye.
Black Widow.
I was going to say
It would be Hawkeye. That would be awesome.
It'd be Hawkeye.
Oh man, now that just kind of blew my mind thinking about some of the things they've done in Hawkeye with the work wife and the ex-girlfriend and
So
the
you guys read
ex-wife.
the comics,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
You guys read the comics?
Yes.
Yeah, I talk about the Hawkeye comic quite a bit on here. I love that comic. I think they do such an awesome job, and I think he has not been represented in the movies in any way yet.
Well, and when you were talking about a Black Widow movie, I'm honestly not that interested in a Black Widow movie. But if you make it a Black Widow and Hawkeye movie, where you've got some of the dynamics that we've seen in this run of Hawkeye, that I would go see.
Sure, I can see that. Well, I liked, they mentioned on there that, they're trying to do more than just the typical, here's an action movie with superheroes. They're trying to do a political thriller, and they're trying to do a science fiction movie. I think that with Black Widow in particular, you've got your James Bond type movie that you can do.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that when we say, a Black Widow standalone, I think that is a genre that they have not really done, and this is a perfect opportunity to do that. And I think that would fit. I think it would stand with what else they have going. But like you said, they only have so many slots. But you're not going to put Scarlett Johansson on a Netflix series.
No.
No. Or Renner, because he's,
No.
they're going to do that or 12 other things.
Right.
And if there's anybody else I would rather see, it's going to be Scarlett Johansson.
Right.
So she's the one that you would really like to see have her own standalone kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Jack wants to for other reasons, obviously.
Yes.
Whether, maybe they could convert her into, maybe the Phoenix or something. I don't care as long as it's her. just cross pollen, convert her to whatever character. It's like, okay, well, that character's not going to work out. We're just going to make her something else.
A couple episodes ago, Jack started talking about his dream team. You could do a movie with Black Widow and the She-Hulk and Catwoman. Oh, now that's a show I'd see.
I remember that. I do.
I love that.
That is just a hot mess of an idea right there.
Yes, it is.
See, I'm telling you, it would work and it would sell.
It would sell.
I'm not
You
going.
sold me a ticket.
No.
Oh, you would go. You would not.
Catwoman left
You would
such
complain.
a bad taste in my
you would-
mouth. I
you
was
would-
hacking up fur balls for a
Oh.
week after that movie.
I'll tell you what, I can make it one better. For your token mail in that, you use the Indian Spider-Man from those Bollywood Spider-Man movies.
No, I got one better for you.
I don't know if
I
You'd
would
be
go
better.
see that. Yes.
Oh, whoa.
What do you
No,
got?
no Aquaman hate here.
I didn't say I hated him. I said if you're gonna make him the token man, make it Aquaman.
That's DC, Jack.
You already
I
got
don't-
Catwoman in there.
Well, he's already crossed the stream, so I mean,
That's
don't
right.
stop him.
Hey,
What did you do,
You
Jack?
could make it work though. Bring in Halle Berry and have her play Black Cat.
ooh,
Well,
See-
she's already playing Storm, though, in the Marvel Universe.
But she's playing Storm in the X-Men for Fox. This is
Oh, you're
Marvel
going to draw
Cinematic.
those lines, huh?
Of course, that would be an amazing Spider-Man character probably. But
Right,
yeah.
right. And, at this rate, she could be in Amazing Spider-Man 2. They've got every villain under the sun in there, so we don't know.
Or as I like to call it, let's make sure we make it clear we have intellectual property rights.
That's exactly it. And, they're doing Sinister Six, and they're doing Venom. They're like, what else do we have that we could throw in here?
Well,
I think we've done-
they're saying, oh, that Avengers movie worked really well, but we have Spider-Man, and we only have one of him.
Right.
What can we do for a team movie? Well, there is the villains. It doesn't make any sense, but why not?
No, I'll tell
It'll
you
make
where
money. It might not make sense, but it'll make money.
I'll tell you where it'll get weird when they get into the whole clone story. Because at some point somebody's going to go, hey, wasn't there that whole clone story? We can have multiple Peter Parkers. This is a great idea.
It sold really well.
But what they need to do is bring Tobey Maguire back for that.
Oh my gosh.
And then
Awesome.
have two different actors playing him.
Oh my gosh. I
Tobey
would
Maguire is Ben Reilly.
take my money, please.
Daniel Butcher. Good grief, man. That is genius.
That is brilliant. And actually, you bring Sam Raimi back for that. He would come back for that.
Oh no, he hasn't. I haven't seen much from him lately, but
No, but that would be. I'm just putting the whole thing together in my head now.
And Samuel Jackson would be in it too.
His agent's already sent in a note. He heard this podcast. His agent's already sending him a note.
yeah,
Hey, can you get me on this project?
he could play Batman.
Can I wear a wig or a patch? Can you imagine
he can wear
Samuel
a wig
Jackson
and a
as
patch.
Batman?
I would see that. I don't care what you say.
Hey, who's going to argue with him? If he's
That's-
Batman,
that's
he's
true.
Batman.
Although it would be a very different take. I mean,
That's the good
you know
thing
how
about Batman. Batman can have anyone play Batman, and if he's good, it'll be good. Batman.
Can you imagine him like Robin trying to tag along? Is like, what are you doing?
Yeah, right. Robin leans
What did I
back.
tell you to do? Stay in the Batcave. This doesn't look like the Batcave to me. Does this look like the Batcave to you? No.
Robin
this is a
starts
street.
arguing. He leans
What are
over
you
the
doing
thing,
here?
shoots Alfred in the head. What did you do? Little bits of Alfred's brain sticking in Samuel Jackson's hair. I'm seeing the whole thing.
Oh,
Wow, that
Who
descended
looks like
fast.
you?
Yeah,
Who do I look like to you?
Hey, that's pretty good. I think
How
we
do-
have a new. I think we have a new Barry.
right.
I'm feeling.
How do I know which car is yours? It's the one that says "Bad MF and Batman" on it.
yeah, he wouldn't hide his identity. He'd be
Oh,
like, "I'm
no.
Bruce Wayne. What you gonna do about it?"
Right.
You got a problem with that?
Yes,
There
I'm
are
still
MF
wearing
and
the patch
penguins
from my
in
other
my
movie.
MF and City.
Look, Batman wears a patch now. Get over it.
Yeah, right.
And carries a lightsaber.
A lightsaber, and I'm bald. And I've
Carry
got
the
Jerry
purple
curl. He'd
lightsaber.
have
You
it
got
all.
something against purple?
Well, do
Oh
you?
man, you know what? Ben Affleck just got fired just because of this podcast. You want to
I don't-
print money? Samuel Jackson is Batman.
I would much more look forward to Samuel Jackson than Ben Affleck as Batman.
You know what?
I'm not a Ben hater. He's had a couple hits now and then, but that is nothing I'm looking forward to.
No, you
It
know
is
what?
A completely different movie. What we're creating. Here. Completely different movie.
But here's your chance to bring Nick Cage in as Superman because that almost happened.
Now that Batman and Superman, that is the world's finest right there.
And
Oh,
then Nick
Sam
Cage's
Jackson
life
and
would
Nick
finally be
Cage.
complete.
I would be so in on that movie.
Oh, that
DC wants to shut down the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's how you do it.
Sam Jackson and Nick Cage are Batman and Superman,
Oh,
world's finest.
League
Oh.
of Justice.
I don't need no Justice League.
right.
Don't you know who I am? That's the truth, Ruth.
Nobody's throwing out the Nick
That's
Cage imitations, though. I can tell.
I want
I
to do it.
don't
I
have-
can't. I can't really do him at all, even badly.
I'm not awake enough to give any kind of energy to Nick Cage.
Right.
And I just have way too much respect for the acting ability of Nicolas Cage.
Right. Well, his hair is actually 90% of it. So I got a question. I heard a rumor in Guardians of the Galaxy. Is Nova going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy? Have you guys heard anything about this?
Yes,
Okay, what have you heard?
she's in it.
She is in it.
She is in it.
Do
She's
we know who's playing Nova?
Amy Pond. I can't remember her name off the top of my
No,
head.
she's not Nova.
She's,
I'm thinking of somebody else. You're
Karen. That's Karen
yeah.
Gillan as Amy
Ugh.
Pond.
yeah, who knows? Sorry.
Nova,
Yeah,
I have
she-
heard is in it, but
But we haven't heard who's playing or anything. I think that's going to be one of those big surprise cameos or something. I just hope it's not like Ellen DeGeneres. That would be terrible. Way to ruin my Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
But let's be honest. I mean, the current Sam Alexander Nova was created by Loeb as a tribute to his son, and he's heavily involved in the MCU. So it'd be a nice
Very
little
true.
tip of the hat to him.
Very true. Well, yeah, and it's funny because I had wondered that from reading the comics. I thought, well, where's the Nova story? Where is Nova in all this? And I hadn't heard anything. And then, I don't know, about a week ago, I saw something that said something about Nova possibly being in this one. And ever since then, I've been trying to find something, and I can't find any information. So we know it's not Karen Gillan. That's the one thing we know.
Yep.
Okay. Maybe you heard it from our podcast.
No, I remember like people.
Halle
talking
Berry's
about
playing Nova,
characters.
according to Jack.
Halle Berry.
She could be Nova. I'm working on the plugs. I'm working on it. I'm doing what I can.
That's right.
She can do anything. Hey, it's not her fault that Catwoman was such a bad movie.
Actually, it is a little bit her fault.
I really blame the writers.
Jack, you enjoyed the movie with the sound off. Don't give me anything about it being a good or bad movie.
I won't argue that point.
The writers deserve some blame, but she was producer on it, or one of the I don't know if she was executive producer or anything like that, but she was involved. She had her hands
say in it
in the bowl making the dough.
In the milk bowl, because it is Catwoman.
I just want to know if we're in some sort of risk of ruining reality since we have two people on Skype at the same time who've seen Catwoman.
We're not in the same
we're gonna
room.
break
We
the
haven't
internet
touched physically.
Podcasting was suddenly outlawed after a discussion between two people that saw Catwoman.
And one of them sort of enjoyed it with the sound off. That was enough to shut down 2 networks completely.
Right.
Great.
Oh my god.
So maybe it is her fault, and we should just move on.
Yeah, well, Jack, you can always have your DVD and watch it with the sound off. We won't take that away from you.
You could have my DVD too, if you like.
No, you know what? That's one of the only superhero films that I don't have.
I realize there's one Marvel movie I haven't seen.
And?
It's Elektra.
Oh, good for you. It's terrible. Nobody's going to chime in and say it's good, right?
Oh, I'm just sitting here. The only thing I could say is ninjas make it better.
That's true. Daniel will watch anything with ninjas, and it's slightly better for him.
Yeah, slightly better.
I understand that. I have a scale of things that I always say, if you have the right mix of things in it, you're starting at 4 stars, and all you can do is work your way down. So, Little People, Karate, those right there. I mean, I'm already sold. Samuel Jackson, that's gonna be in there, and Tony Hawk. If Tony Hawk appears in something, you're already up to about 4 stars, and you got to work your way back down.
All right.
So yeah, I get that.
So
did
you?
So Tony Hawk could be Robin in our movie.
Oh,
he's Sam
please.
Jackson's Robin.
Oh, that'd be awesome. And he does skateboard tricks, but he's like my age now, so it's like, don't break your hip, Robin.
Yeah, this is total 90s comics right here. He rides a skateboard.
Oh,
because that's cool, right? Kids like skateboards, right? So they'll buy that comic.
Right.
And a skateboard has razor edges and chops people's heads off.
Oh, right. Well, that would be a 90s thing for sure.
Oh,
and he's not Robin. He's Dark Robin.
Dark
yeah.
Robin.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's Robin, but there is a Dark Robin, and it turns out to be him. So you get dragged along for
identities.
Yeah, 3/4 of the movie, you're like, who is this Dark Robin? Robin, what can we do about him? And then it turns out, I'm Dark Robin.
He's wearing the same exact costume as Robin, only he has a hood.
And now I'm going to gleam the cube.
And he skateboards. He's so dark.
And,
Wait,
and I just want to say for the record that I know that gleaming the cube is not a real skateboard term. That was a joke.
That was a title of a skateboard movie, though, wasn't it?
I know.
Okay,
That's the big
right.
joke. It was the title of a skateboard movie that, of course, I saw. And I bet if I dig, I probably have the DVD. And Catwoman's the only thing I don't have. And the big joke is that it was named by somebody that knows nothing about skateboarding. Gleaming the cube was not a skateboard thing at all. It wasn't a term from skateboarding at all.
Well, it sure does sound cool.
They could have called it like Ollie. That would have been ridiculous.
Wow,
Reverse.
I feel like I'm learning something tonight.
Yeah, right.
I only know that it's called an Ollie because the first guy who ever did one was named Ollie.
It was Oliver Hardy. He did it in one of these
Yeah.
Stan and Laurel. I'm kidding. Stan and Laurel. What is wrong with me?
Oh, jeez. So speaking of coming out of left field, did you you say on your show you said you ordered the what's his name, Coulson action figure?
Yeah, the vinyl pop guy.
Yeah, did you actually get that?
Not yet. It hasn't been released yet. We pre-ordered.
You know what?
Okay.
You can order that through the Southgate Media website by clicking on Entertainment Earth. It's on
Really?
there. Yes.
I was wondering if you actually got it because I wonder if it is as cool as it sounds.
It is. Jack, if you ever went to our Instagram for Nuff Said Podcast,
Yeah, that's going to happen.
yeah, if you ever went to that, I actually just sent that picture out the other day. I had the full picture of the Agent Coulson bobblehead.
Clark Gregg has changed his avatar to the Agent Coulson pop vinyl figure.
Has he? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's his picture on Twitter.
See,
Cool.
now what my big question is going to be is when I get that, because I have mine pre-ordered too. I also have the Loki. So do I need to reenact scenes from the Avengers?
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, need? I'm going to say yes. I mean, did you even have to ask that?
I just
There's a
have to explain it
difference
to my
between-
wife why I need this ketchup and why I'm
When I
rubbing
was-
it on my pop.
When I was in that's kind of weird. When I was in school, they did a whole class about when I'm talking like 5th grade about needs and wants, and it's clearly defined in my head. This is a need, says the guy sitting with bobbleheads and toys all around him right now.
That's
You know what
true.
happened here today? This was actually kind of awesome. So Molly, our daughter, is not into Star Wars. Okay, she likes the Marvel stuff. She hasn't really seen the movies, but she kind of she thinks it's cool, and she loves like Harry Potter and Percy Jackson. Like she's that kid, right? Not really into Star Wars. It pains me, but all right. So today she woke up, and for whatever reason, Dad, can you go out to the garage and get some of those Star Wars toys? Yeah. I went out, I brought in a whole bunch. I mean, I've got a garage full of Star Wars toys, stuff from the 70s all the way into the 90s, and then I got poor and I stopped buying them. And she sat here and played Star Wars for like 4 hours. Now, she's only seen 2 of the movies, and one of them she didn't even make it to the end. Thank goodness it was the Jar Jar Binks one, and she totally lost interest in it after the pod race. She saw, well, what we called Star Wars, which is A New Hope, they all call it now. And afterwards she said, nothing really happened. I didn't really like it. Wow. But today, 4 hours of Star Wars play here in my house. Gotta like that.
You know, I think all the episodes have subliminal messages that warp our minds. 'Cause, you know, when
What?
four was like the first one came out,
Yeah.
like, you know, I wasn't, like, I didn't have a lot of money growing up. I wasn't like, I had shoes and clothes and stuff, but certainly,
Thank
when
God.
when I went to a movie, I went to it once. But everybody that I knew that went to the Star Wars thing, when it first came out, they went to that movie like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I saw it that summer. It was over and over and over.
I'm telling you, it's like visual crack.
Yeah.
There's something in these episodes that makes kids go, I don't know what it is, but I
You
need
mean
to
the same
play
crack that was in the Avengers? Because every kid I know saw that over and over and over too.
Yeah, maybe it's the same mojo. I don't know.
Interesting. I
Well,
can
you
tell.
brought up Star Wars,
Yeah.
and I remember you
Let's all avoid
talking.
Jack for a second. It's creepy.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
think it was your. Well,
I'm turning away
this is
from him.
Jack centric. What I'm going into right now.
Excellent.
The new podcast.
It wouldn't have been your first episode. It would have been your second episode because
Jack centric.
it was the episode where you were talking about the first, the pilot episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and you had the Star Wars analogs to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Do you remember that?
I don't remember what we talked about 5 minutes ago. How do you think I know that one?
No,
Were
it was.
we
it
drawing
was.
parallels?
Yeah. It was. Ward was Han Solo, and Fitz and Simmons were R2D2 and C3PO.
Oh yeah, totally. I remember that. Jack, do you remember this?
I do.
Isn't May Han Solo though?
No,
No. Ward is Han Solo.
they went with something different for May.
What did we do with May?
Chewbacca.
Oh, we did. Oh, that's so awful.
No, I
But you
think
know
need
what?
to switch 'em.
Chewbacca rocks, and that's why she's Chewbacca.
Oh, okay, I'll buy that.
That was not a slam against her. I love that character. I think what's her Ming-Wen Nei, isn't that her name? Ming-Wen Nei? Ming-Na Wen?
Ming-Na Wen, yeah.
Ming-Na Wen. Yeah, she's really cool. No, that was not a slam, even though it's a little bit weird to call her Chewbacca.
And then Sky was Princess Leia. I don't think you had a Luke though. And the reason I remember this is because this is where Jack just almost made me turn off the podcast forever. Was just talking smack against my Luke.
That is my job, though.
Yeah.
So is Coulson Obi-Wan in this?
I think that's where they went with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he'd have to be the younger Obi-Wan. He's not the old Obi-Wan.
Well,
You
he
know what
could.
I mean?
It's not a perfect analog. I mean, Ming-Na's
No.
far more beautiful than Chewbacca.
Oh,
So
please. Well,
Obi-Wan is far more old than Coulson, but you can still make the.
Whoa! Let's slow down. Is he
analog.
really that much older? I mean, the deserts of Tatooine's obviously wore him down, but
right.
I mean, he's
Well,
not
think
going to be
about
that
it.
much older.
At the end of episode 3, how old was Obi-Wan? because Luke is only what, like 17? It's only like 17 years difference from the end of episode 3 to the beginning of episode 4.
It's true. He
Yeah.
does not-
Obi-Wan looks like he's been through the ringer. He must be hanging out at that bar in Mos Eisley a lot.
Yeah, spending too much time with the Sandman.
Just don't let that beard fool you, Ben. He's not collecting it. He doesn't have an AARP card yet.
Right. He's one of those. He's like Steve Martin. He went prematurely gray, but
And
he
just
works
stayed
the
gray.
beard to make it look like, I'm really old now. AARP discount. We don't let your kind in here. No. ARP. Oh, okay. Come on in.
That reminds me of the when I was on tour with the Army band. Not long after I first got in, the oldest guy in the section, I think he was getting sort of towards 50, and but we would stop for lunch usually when we were going from hotel to hotel, and we get a half hour, and usually stop at a McDonald's because it was easier to get the bus in, and they were quick. And if you were adventurous, you could venture out to other eateries, but for the most part, you went there just because you knew you could get lunch and served in that time. But he gets up to the line and she says, your order, are you eligible for our senior citizen discount? And he just went completely pale. I was like, thanks a lot. No,
Yes.
thanks a lot. And I'm sitting there back in line with like $5 in my pocket going, I think I'm eligible.
Yeah, right. I'll take the discount.
Yeah. I'm going, I will never, I don't care how old I am. If you're going to give me a discount, I'll say whatever age you want me to be. I don't care.
So you guys got me thinking about this Star Wars analogy now, and like equating these guys. I can't figure out who Luke is.
There isn't a Luke unless you want to go with
Fitz.
possibly
But I
Fitz
think-
might be Luke.
or
But
Sky. Honestly, Sky could be the Luke.
Well, Sky, because she's the 084. I mean, that does make sense. But then, would that make May is not Princess Leia?
No.
No, although Princess Leia is tough, I think May is a lot tougher.
Fitz would be Princess Leia.
Oh yeah.
No,
Simmons, you mean?
No,
I meant Fitz.
Boo.
You guys need to think bigger. Princess Leia is Mike Peterson. He's the one who needs to be saved.
Oh.
Or
Actually, wouldn't he be C-3PO now?
or he could actually, the
Or
whole
Darth Vader, honestly.
Yeah, right.
the whole robotic hand thing that Mike Peterson could be our Luke Skywalker.
He
Yeah,
could be.
learning to use the powers that he wasn't aware of, and he has the serum from the beginning. Would be a kind of analogy to
Kind
the
of has
Force.
the Force.
Yeah.
The
Okay, Mike
midichlorians
Peterson is
are in
Luke.
him.
Yeah, I can stick with that.
All right.
That's good.
So
Now,
I
the big question
think
is,
he
when
just
he
found
lost
out.
his leg, did he go, no? That would tell us for sure.
I would have if it was me
Yeah, right.
and I was awake. There'd be some no's. Yeah.
So to take this one step further, is there a Yoda?
Well, I know
Coulson
Sam
Yoda?
Jackson would be the Mace Windu.
Of
Just
course.
because he has to be Mace Windu.
He would accept nothing else.
That's right.
Maybe the clairvoyant is Yoda.
Okay. Did you guys hear
He's
our
the-
theory about the clairvoyant?
I'll just say it. Right. No, I have not.
Well, it's not even a theory. We just are holding out hope that Stan Lee is the clairvoyant.
Oh,
That
I-
scene that was on the train when he bumped into him, why was he on that train?
I did hear you say that. Yeah.
So, do you guys think we're completely wacky with this?
Yes.
You're off the show!
See, I would
You're
buy
out.
that theory if they had handled that Stan Lee episode right. Because what they
Mm.
should have done in Tracks is instead of him just being in that interaction with Coulson, he should have interacted in each one of the perspective changes.
Yes,
And-
I
and
agree. He should have been there more than that ridiculous little bump through. That was ridiculous.
So
Hey.
if he had been in all those, then I would have been like, that's a big enough presence. He could have been the clairvoyant.
Well, I'm
And
still
also a
holding
big
out
enough
hope
presence.
because
Just
I
to
think
be
they could
worth
come
it.
back around and make him the clairvoyant.
But if you want to hear crazy theories, you should hear Ben's theory about who Stan Lee is in the MCU.
That's right. All of the Stan Lee cameos in the MCU are different people,
Yeah,
but clones of the general from Captain America.
that's awesome.
And
That's
let's-
awesome.
And
That's
let's
not
throw the
crazy.
fact that the Captain America cameo is Ben's least favorite.
Yeah, I hate that. So actually, normally I would say clones of the idiot general from
Right.
Captain America. But
I actually have a personal favorite. Do you have a favorite Stan Lee cameo?
actually, I think my favorite might be from Amazing Spider-Man. That was just a good
Oh, that was a good one.
gag, you know.
But I actually, my favorite was Dark World. I loved when he was in there and the professor is sitting there like talking in the crazy house, and all of a sudden Stanley goes, "Can I have my shoe back?" I thought that was awesome. Maybe his best cameo was in Mallrats, but that's not part of the MCU, is it?
No, and neither is this Amazing Spider-Man though. So.
My favorite cameo is the one they didn't use for the Avengers, where he's eating lunch next to Captain America, because that's a nice heartfelt episode. That would have been a nice little scene there.
Yeah. That's why I'm holding out hope that he might be the clairvoyant, that they might do something like that, just something, because that was really bad. What a waste.
It couldn't have been more awkward, and he could have done better than that.
Yeah.
Like, how did they even let that get past editing?
He's Yoda.
Well, he could be.
Well,
one of them could be Yoda. Yeah, sure.
If you think about Yoda's actual screen time in Empire Strikes Back versus Return of the Jedi, I mean, it's like minutes,
Oh, yeah.
So really, technically, he could be Yoda, and he's that impactful.
I'll also say I liked both of his cameos in Fantastic Four.
Yes, I did too.
I really like him as was it Willie Lumpkin? Is that the name of the?
I don't remember the name,
but yes. I mean, making him an actual Marvel character for that one, and then for the marriage, putting him, having him try to get into the wedding just like he did in the comic.
Right. Now, do you think he'll be in the rebooted Fantastic Four?
I don't know. He's getting up there.
I think a lot of these all depend on where they're filming. Because if they're not filming nearby in California, I just don't think he's doing it anymore.
Yeah, he
just can't travel.
Yeah, I wonder how many more cameos we're going to get out of him.
They've already said not Guardians of the Galaxy, and he came out as
saying he didn't write that,
it.
so he's not involved in it. But does that mean he will show up in Daredevil and cameo that?
Yeah, I just don't know at this point. It used to be a given.
I want answers.
We're talking.
Well, but they're filming in New York, and he's traveled to New York before.
You know what? Stanley is at every Comic-Con everywhere, so I don't think traveling to New York would be a big deal for him.
He does.
It's kind of like Lou Ferrigno. It seems like Lou Ferrigno is still sweeping up at C2E2 from last year, because the guy is at every single thing. You walk into the McCormick Center here, he's still there sweeping up.
You got to give the man his dime, man.
That's right.
He's got to pay
did
the
you hear
bills.
that one? I just heard that the other day, that when they were trying to get the sound right for the Hulk in the last movie, the last or was it in Avengers? They used Lou Ferrigno's voice from the Hulk TV show.
Yeah, it wasn't Avengers.
It was the second one, wasn't it?
It was the second movie. Okay, yeah, I had never heard that one. I thought that was pretty cool.
See, he was really hoping to be able to have speaking parts in a 5th season of Incredible Hulk. And they never did a 5th season, but they were actually talking about making Hulk smarter.
Like doing the Grey Hulk thing?
Not quite that extreme. But, in the comics of the time, in the 70s and 80s,
right.
Hulk was smart enough to talk. He just was also really stupid when he talked.
Right.
But that's something he was hoping for. And then, of course, it never got renewed for a...
Now, do you guys think we're going to get into Hulks on this show? Because I really do. I think we are heading towards Hulk stuff.
Talbot.
I think She-Hulk is going to show up. I think we're going to see the Red Hulk at some point.
I don't know about Red Hulk.
Well, I'm all for Red Hulk. Thunderbolt Ross, when they cast him, will lose another star, because that's what happens in all these movies with him. But
yeah, he lost a star between Hulk and Incredible Hulk. They
just took it straight away from him.
Right.
They're like, we're taking a star away from you for being in that first movie.
So by the time he hits Agents, he'll only be 2 stars.
Yeah, we kind of went a lot into that, like the Gamma and the first thing that when they started out in Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., kind of where they were going with the radiation, the gravitron, and the Gamma. It seemed like a direction they might go.
I really think that we're going to see some Hulk action here. Well,
I think
what's his name? Adrian Peterson, isn't he?
Pestar.
Yeah, that I got the name completely wrong. But
it's all right. I got no wrong.
And his character is a character that hunts Hulks.
I think that episode that he's in, I think is called Turn or something like that. I think that we're going to be looking at a Gamma Monster of the Week in that episode.
Okay.
I don't know about if we're going full on Hulk. My hope, and this is my current front runner for the Clairvoyant, is the Leader.
Yeah.
And he was in the Incredible Hulk. He was affected by Gamma
right.
serum.
Now, do you think they'll get that same actor back?
That's my hope.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
I
That's
think
a
if they
great
can't get
theory
the same
right there.
actor back, they shouldn't do that character. They should just do a different gamma character. It'd be just as simple to do.
I think they totally need to have the leader, and I think that is a great way to do it.
Yeah, that would be totally doable too.
The other thing is, I don't know if they need to get into an actual Hulk, but like the She-Hulk and some of these other things. I think they could definitely have that happen around here. I don't think that it would be outside of their budget to do that. I
They
just
could bring
think
in the
they need to limit it.
Harpy. If you guys remember the Harpy?
No.
Okay, I only know this because of Marvel Universe, a handbook of the Marvel Universe. There's a character called the Harpy. I think it was Betsy Ross.
Okay.
Affected by all the radiation from Bruce Banner, and she turned into like this flying creature with claws
What?
for feet and stuff. Yeah,
Get out of here.
I'm not lying.
Yeah,
Oh, it is. I just looked it up from Earth 616. It's Elizabeth Ross. Now, wait. Elizabeth Ross, Betsy becomes the Red She-Hulk.
Can't tell you.
Yeah, if you read the Marvel Now comics, she is Red She-Hulk in there. So how did that happen?
Well, yeah, here's her Wikipedia. Betty Ross, Red She-Hulk. But yeah, she was the Harpy for a little while. You can see the picture of her there.
it's funny. I actually remember the Harpy, and
Get out of here.
I totally remember that. And I really don't remember much about Red She-Hulk, but I remember that the Harpy.
Weird.
Yeah,
Well, the Harpy was back in, I think, the 80s or something like that. Maybe even the 70s. I'm not sure.
shut your mouth.
Yeah, but that would have been when Jack was kind of reading Marvel comics.
That's and
1973.
really, yep.
That's
So
a year
that would
before I
have
was
that would have
born.
still been hanging around, even though a year before you were born. Is that
Yeah.
what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack and I are a little bit older than that, but I may not have seen the Harpy like comics. I probably did if it was 1973. I would have been reading that stuff by then. I was 6.
I
No,
think
was 5.
I think that's the first appearance. I don't know how much they came back with her or not, but yeah.
But that image, we would have seen that image. Whether we saw that comic, that would have been an image that would have been around of the Harpy, would have been around for a while for us.
And I still have the original. It's not in mint condition by any means, but the original Hulk comic. That this thing was like, it was huge. It was like I don't know, 2 foot by a foot and a half comic book.
Yeah,
and
the treasury editions.
Yeah, and I had one of those, and I was nuts about Hulk. So and that was she was that spinoff from the Bruce Banner thing. So that would have totally been kind of in
Yeah, that would have been your wheelhouse for sure.
Jack-centric.
Jack-centric. Well, I actually was showing my daughter the other day. Do you remember those giant editions of Marvel Comics? Like they were like 2 feet by 3 feet tall. Did you guys ever see those?
I think I have some Star Wars ones of those.
I have the Star Wars issue 1, Marvel issue 1 of that. And I had a few of these, but the big ones, I had the Hulk one, and it was the issue 1 of the Hulk. I remember, speaking of Steve Martin, get this. Steve Martin, before he was famous, played at the college, which is right by my house. And my parents, being the good parents they are, took me there when I was like, I don't know, 6, and saw a comedian, saw Steve Martin. And I took that giant Hulk comic and sat there and read it, like sat on the floor and read it while he was doing his thing. I just
Right
had that
on.
in memory. Thank you very muyou
Did you even look up when he did King Tut?
This was way before King Tut. This was before he was famous. In fact, it was you remember the Rolling Stone cover that he was on where he was like in a box and he was like kind of crawling out of it? That was his big breakthrough. That was when people suddenly knew who Steve Martin was. That was months after we saw him at this college. Because I remember my dad picked it up. He's like, hey, this is that guy we saw at the college. And then right after
Nice.
that, he started showing up on Saturday Night Live, and, the rest was history. Oh my gosh, I was obsessed with him back then. I loved him. But the first time we saw him, I sat and read a Hulk comic. Take that, Steve Martin.
Issue 1.
Issue 1, giant size edition.
And it was big enough he would have never seen your face.
He'll never see me coming. The other thing is, do you guys remember the books? I'm going to take a picture of these and put them on my on the Instagram, which Jack will never see. The Bring on the Bad Guys and Origins of Marvel Comics. Do you remember those
Yes,
collections?
I have all 3 of those. Son of Origins.
Really? All
Yeah.
3? Because I'm looking at 4.
Well, they did a 4th one later, but wasn't there only 3 originally?
Yeah, there was Bring on the Bad Guys, Origins, and Son of Origins, and
Yeah.
then I have Marvel's Greatest Superhero Battles. That's the 4th one. I don't know if there's any other than that. So I'm sitting here making it sound like I know what I'm talking about. As you guys know from listening to the podcast, I really don't. But yeah, I used to bring those too. And my dad was a band director, and we would go to these, tournament things for his junior high band. And I don't remember any of it because all I did was sit and endlessly pore over Marvel Origins, Son of Origins, Bring on the Bad Guys over and over and over, which is what I would do now.
No, what would happen now if you were a kid is you'd spend your entire day in front of a Kindle playing some sort of jumping game.
But no, this is still
Or
me. I would
read-
spend part of the time doing that, and then I would sit and read comics because that's what I do now. I have we got an iPad. Literally, my purpose was so that I could pull out my comic books on it.
Yeah.
My wife uses it for like everything, and she's doing the business on it. She's doing all of her stuff, and as soon as I get it, it's like, oh, cool, comic books. Yeah.
So you access that, you've got that Marvel subscription where you can access all of the
Everything.
everything.
Unlimited, yeah.
Well, it's not everything, but it's close enough. Oh, it's awesome.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Now that Origins and Son of Origins and Bring on the Bad Guys, I bought those at a antique store while
How dare you.
While I was on a choir tour, and
Oh, you were in chorus? That might just have ended our conversation.
well, I played tuba and I sang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're that guy.
But
The tuba balances it out.
Jack and I were band guys, so.
but I bought it, and when I got in the bus, I was looking at it, and someone. I still hold out hope that one day I'll find out this was actually real, but someone had signed it, Johnny, you're a punk, Stan Lee.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I hope
So-
that's real.
I'm just picturing, it's either Big Brother, here's a gift. I know you're gonna like this. I know enough about comics to know that Stan Lee, but you're a punk, but I'm
Right,
giving this
right,
to you.
Or have
Or
you ever tried to match up the signature? Because his signature is very distinct.
yeah, I haven't. I don't even.
You don't want to know that much.
I'd much rather have it just be questionable instead of absolutely impossible.
We have a copy of The Art of Fantasia, and it was a book that it came out when the original movie came out. It was my wife's family had this, and it was signed by Walt Disney, right? For years, this was this valuable treasure in the family. Until a few years ago when Martha's cousin sent it into an archivist at Disney, and they said, no, that's not Disney. That's just somebody that worked here that would sign these things.
Oh,
So it's better not to know.
Yeah, Disney had people who could sign his name better than his own.
Yeah, right. He signed it like I signed it, missing finger, You should see my signature. It's just absolutely terrible.
well,
My wife says mine looks like Dale L. Butts. So
at least yours looks like a word.
I think you should change your name officially. I think that would be awesome.
I don't think Mrs. Butcher wants to become Mrs. Butts.
I had a librarian named Mr. Butts.
When I was
Like,
when
why
Jack
would you
and I
work
were-
at a public school if that was your name?
when Jack and I were in college, we went to college together too, and our lives are intertwined. Jack, why didn't we ever marry?
I'm not sure, but
I know
it's
why.
illegal now.
I
It
know
was-
why.
I think it was illegal at the time.
I could still think of a number of reasons why we wouldn't. First of all, the love of Halle Berry would definitely get in the way. Anyway,
Don't you
there was a woman that was on the news.
disparage
who-
Halle Berry?
There was a woman on the news who would always show up, and her last name was Sass. And I'll never forget Jack. I was at Jack's house, and this woman came on, and Jack goes, "That's an awesome name. I'm changing my name to Jack Sass."
Oh,
That was the greatest. It's been like 5 years.
you
No,
know
it's
who
been
that
like
is? That's the name of the cop who is 2 days away from retirement in an action movie.
Jack Sass.
Yeah.
Jack says. Yeah, I always have a
I'm getting
chuckle.
too old
in,
for this.
in Maryland, there's this a broadcaster from the news, and her name's Deborah Weiner. And every time they say that, I chuckle. I'm totally ashamed of that, by the way, but I do it every time.
Jack, you should change your last name to Sweener. Then it would be Jack Sweener.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Jack's suddenly thinking about it.
I wouldn't do it. So
No.
No, I think my wife would.
Well, he's
nix
out of the
that one, too.
military now. I don't think he'd take quite as much guff.
No, my wife would punch me in the throat. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah, because then her name would be Debbie Sweener.
Yeah,
That's a little weird.
yeah, that'd be real weird, and she would not go for that.
So if we,
I think it's awesome that you have a wife who would punch you in the throat, though.
We don't actually do that, but around the house, that's like the byline. It's like,
Yeah,
oh
no, that's-
man, that
They do it
That's
out
an
of the
awesome
house.
go-to.
right?
oh that's
We
the
don't do
that's
it
the
around the
go-to
house.
phrase.
Yeah, that's an
When
awesome
we're
go-to.
watching, we were mad at Bobby Flay because he was just so smug at the little cook-off, and my wife turned to me and said, "I want to punch Bobby Flay right in the throat." It was
But
like
hasn't
awesome.
everyone wanted to punch Bobby Flay in the throat at one time or another?
He's too good. The
It's because
guy,
he cheats.
he doesn't
Get-
cheat. He's Bobby frickin' Flay.
He's got those research chefs working with him. He's a cheater.
Maybe so, but when they were having the chicken and waffle throwdown, I mean, come on, he's Bobby Flay. You knew he was going to win that one, and he doesn't win all of them, but he's Bobby Flay. What can I say? But
What I love is
Way outside my realm of comfort here right now.
we've got an ice cream shop up here that's well known, and it was on Throwdown. And they like do the whole like setting up the owner who's in charge of it and does all the recipes. And he like whips out his hand and he's like, "I'm Bobby Flay." And the guy that looks at him is like, "Oh, hi, I'm like Dave." And he's like completely oblivious to who Bobby Flay is, just like Ben.
That'd be me. Oh, hi. My name's Ben.
It was exactly like that. It was awesome because the guy was like, Bobby was so excited. I'm going to introduce myself to this guy. And the guy had no idea who Bobby was. He's like, "Oh, great. Nice to see you here on our big day."
Yeah, right.
Awesome.
That's excellent. Well, you know what? We could keep talking all night, but I think the audience will get bored. So let's end it. And before we do that, though, I want to stress that we have another one of these next week. And I don't know if you guys want to talk about it. We're going to actually be on your show, but we'll have it on our feed at some point. But it's going to be your show for next week. Did you guys come up with a name for it yet?
Kind of. It's kind of going to be our show. I mean, we're kind of sponsoring it, but
It's a roundtable.
yeah, it's a roundtable with a bunch of other podcasters who podcast about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the audio file is going to be passed out to everyone, so it'll go back into their regular feed,
Right.
and without they'll put it on their own music and that kind of thing. It's not
You
gonna
won't
be-
all have Clark Gregg to introduce yourself.
No, we're keeping him to ourselves, man.
No, we're
at
going to
least
get
that
Chewbacca
recording
to
of him.
introduce us.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Oh, that'd be great.
Skip Ben Burt to.
So did you come up with a name for it? Because you sent something out with a few names. I wanted to hear if you decided on one.
No, I haven't. I like the Podcasters Assemble idea.
I think that's good. That works.
I think that kind of fits nicely. I was thinking something along the lines of the World Security Council, but they're kind of evil.
All right.
And yeah, but yeah, we're gonna talk about.
If it was Jack and I, it would be lame. L.A. Okay.
oh, great.
But then you'd have to figure out, because what it sounds like to me is someone really wanted their thing to spell lame.
Yes. Well played, sir.
But yeah, we'll be
Nice quote.
talking. There'll be representatives from 4 different podcasts, including us and you. And we'll be talking about the season so far, where we're expecting the season to go. It'll be a little more structured. We'll have questions. We'll kind of moderate just to make sure everyone gets a chance, because there's going to be a lot of us.
Yeah, right,
There.
right. Yeah, I saw it was a pretty big lineup. And it seems like
Each
everyone's
podcast
excited,
has
too.
at least 2 people that could come. We don't know. I don't know if they're all going to come, but
So
Yeah.
what you're telling me, Ben, is Bobby Flay's off the table next week?
Bobby Flay is off the table, whatever
Dang it.
that means.
Bom, bom, bom.
Whatever that means. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. We'll be doing it live. We're looking into using some software and a website that will allow us to do live chat where people can listen as we are doing the conversation.
Right, and when you get us that information, we'll put that on our website. We'll put it on our Facebook page. We'll tweet it out. We'll try to let our listeners know about it, because I'm sure some of our listeners would probably really want to get in on that thing.
I think it'd be fun. I'm not making any promises yet. There's still some things
Okay.
I have to figure out with the technology.
If you don't come through, we're all going to punch you in the throat.
But as long as I'm working with the guy who runs our network, the Noodle Mix Network, Noodle.mx, and he's working with me right now to get it set up. And yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it'll just be a nice way to expand the community, I think.
Yeah, I think it's great. I'm looking forward to it.
And yeah, so other than that, though, I'm just looking forward to geeking out with more people, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Well, Daniel, Ben, thank you so much for being with us. And this was just a lot of fun. We really love your show. Everybody, there's plenty of room in your hearts for more than one Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast and Marvel-centric podcast. Definitely subscribe to Welcome to Level 7. You will not regret it. And, of course, keep those subscriptions to the Nuff Said podcast. Anyone else got anything else they want to say?
I'm good here.
Wow, everyone went silent.
No, I'm comfy as can be.
All right. Well, thank you guys again. Let's wrap it up. That's it for the Nuff Said podcast. Oh, we didn't do our thing. I'm rambunctious Rob Southgate, and with me is...
Jivey Jack Wingrosky.
And also we've got... let's hear it, guys.
Bounteous Ben Avery.
Wait, what was it?
Bounteous. Is that right?
Bounteous. Ooh.
Very nice.
Dandy Daniel Butcher.
Dandy Daniel. That was excellent. Thank you guys so much for being on. We can't wait to talk to you next week. And yeah, I think we're going to have to talk again once Captain America comes out, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot to break down there. Until next time, everybody, thank you for listening, and check us out live next week, hopefully. For now, enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fund going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world. All right, guys, stop stepping on my line. Just kidding.
I thought that's what you do at the end. Don't you both say that?
Yes.
It is.
Oh, I'm going to
That's
leave that in. It's funny.
I was just following everybody else.
It's great.
I was looking forward to saying it. I've been waiting for that moment.